What's up, everybody? It is your boy Baddog here, the New York Giants video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. It helps out the video huge. Hit the subscribe button. Ring a ding, ding, ding the bell for future Giants content, Yankees content, baseball, whatever live streams. We live for the Dodgers and White Sox later tonight. Just want to do a little baseball action. They play late, so we'll do a little Dodger game tonight. But I wanted to kind of react to Brian Daboll's minicamp press conference here. I plan on doing a lot of these during the regular season, kind of reacting to all the post-game stuff. So I just want to try to give this a try, and we'll see how it goes. So let's get into it. Let's see what Brian Daboll has to say, and then obviously I will react accordingly.
Good to be back out here today. Really an extension of OTAs for us. We have, an extra walkthrough and some extra meetings after practice relative to our practice and how we're doing things. It'll be very similar as to what we've done the last couple of weeks. So good to be out there. Relative to, I know you probably asked a couple of Saquon questions. My position hasn't changed on that from a couple of weeks ago. Every conversation that I have about Saquon will be private.
I kind of have to laugh at the, not that he's talking about Saquon Barkley and the conversations being private, but if you're looking at the closed captioning like I am, the fact, I forgot what it said the first time, but this one says, any conversation I've had about Cyclone will be private. Now, a lot of Saquon Barkley, the Giants are having problems trying to come to an agreement on a long-term deal, and Saquon Barkley was upset that things had gotten leaked about, what the Giants offered and whether that be true or false. He doesn't like the fact that the details of these things have been out there. But unfortunately for Saquon, Brian Daboll, and the Giants, I mean, it's the New York media, man. Things get leaked here on a consistent basis. So you're really never going to have anything private. I remember years ago, I want to say it was 2009, 2010. It was somewhere after Jeter's 10-year contract ran out, and he was it might have even been 2014. I forgot the exact year, but Jeter was really mad that the details of the contract leaked out, and he couldn't trust Brian Cashman after the fact. So this even happened to a guy like Derek Jeter, and as good as Saquon Barkley is, man, you're not going to be revered in this town like a Derek Jeter unless you win 5 championships, and you're just the freaking man like Jeter was. But I understand Saquon's frustration. I understand Brian Daboll's frustration, but that's the New York media.
So, fire away.
Brian, Saquon seems frustrated that he feels like details of the negotiations were leaked and were misleading. Is that a concern on your end that he feels that way about negotiations that are supposed to be private?
So the first, you could see Brian Daboll's reaction immediately. Like, the guy literally just got done saying any conversations I have about Saquon or with Saquon will be private. And the first question the guy asks is about Saquon Barkley. I mean, the New York media, listen, I understand they're not the brightest bunch. They're not. And I understand they got a job to do, but can you respect what the man says? Can you listen? Listen what the man said. The Beatles sang that back in the day. Maybe it was the Beatles, maybe it was Wings. I don't remember. Paul McCartney sang it anyway. But, I mean, my God. I mean, you could see Brian Daboll's reaction. He was not happy whatsoever about that, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, everything that I have to say about Saquon will remain private.
I mean, he pretty much just answered that for you before you asked the stupid question.
Is everybody here?
Everybody except Saquon, but didn't sign. Just tell you.
Do you plan to have, like, when you make your plans for the future, like, for the season, are you planning as if he's going to be there?
I'm just planning for today.
What?
I'm just planning for today.
Again, I mean, how is this whole 10-minute press conference going to be questions about Saquon? I mean, I don't know how Brian Daboll's got the patience of a saint. I would have already blown up at some people. Well, that's just me.
Have good practice.
You obviously have to do roster construction. No?
Yeah, I'm just worried about today right now, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan, what the hell are you asking for? Obviously, he's planning on what he has. At least I can't speak for Coach Daboll, but if I'm Daboll, I'm planning for the guys I have there. And if Saquon's there, awesome. I mean, you want Saquon to be here. You want him to be a Giant. But he can't plan on him being here. He's not here right now. So they got to move on without him. They can't, all the operations don't come to a halt because Saquon's not there.
Because he's so important to the team, can something like that become a distraction?
Look at Daboll's face. Look at it. Look at this. That's all you need to know. I commend you, Coach. I don't know how you do it. I'm not even taking the questions, and I'm getting pissed off over here.
From your experience as a coach.
The distraction is the fact that you guys don't leave him the hell alone when he told you right from the beginning, any conversations I have about Saquon to be held in private. The first 3-4 questions have been out about Saquon Barkley. If I was him, I mean, he kind of looks, he's got a little stone cold going. I'd go out there and stunner all these guys.
We're just focused on today, Pat.
Oh, what a shock. I believe that's Pat Leonard and Jordan Renan. Shouldn't surprise anybody that those questions came from those two guys.
Dave, you mentioned that this is a continuation of the teaching, but at this point, are you looking for maybe more execution, alignment, or what are you looking for exactly?
Yeah, so we're adding some more things today. We'll do some more, team periods, but with our helmets off, we'll do some short yardage, some goal line, introduce some more things.
There's obviously a jet flying overhead.
Keep increasing the installation, and then go out there and have some call-up periods, albeit 7-on-7, where the coordinators are just calling the plays. There's no scripts. Try to build on our communication, our fundamentals, and keep on.
Fundamentals. Don't Joe judge me, Coach Daboll. Don't Joe judge me.
On stacking days together.
Do you have pretty much everything installed at this point, or is there stuff you're holding back for training camp?
I'd say we have a lot, not everything, but a lot. And today with the short yardage and goal line, it's hard to do, but we can do it, with the helmets off and make it a teaching pace. But install those things. We can do some situational football today, separate from one another, but last plays, things like that, and just kind of we're getting close to having everything in.
That was a much better question. I don't know if that was Patty that asked that because I didn't hear. I don't know all the voices, but it would surprise me because that was actually a legitimate question. And Patty Train always asks great questions. Because shout out to Patty Train if you're watching. If that was her, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know unless he says who they are. I don't know the voices.
Tangible that you've seen in terms of Daniel from 1 year to the next year?
Yay! Another good question.
During this period?
Well, I just say that he's got a much more comfort level with our offense.
And that shouldn't surprise anybody. Again, I believe that this is the first year. And I know I've been up and down with Daniel Jones. I'm not going to sit here and say I've always believed in him because I did it first and then I didn't. And I do again. I do believe watching what Daniel Jones did last year, I felt like he got very comfortable in the offense. And I believe that's a tribute to the good coaching staff. And I believe he's a much more confident guy. And I do think Daniel Jones is going to have a much better year this year than he did last year. He had a good year last year.
Again, we've added, I'd say, considerably new things these camps just to see how they look. But he's got really good give and take with Kafka, seeing how different players look in different spots. He's had a really good camp.
Yeah. And I expect him to continue to grow these guys. Like I said in my Saquon Barkley video, was kind of a little bit off tangent, but I'm excited to see what he can do with a guy like Jalen Hyatt, an absolute pure burner, and having a legitimate tight end threat. We see a lot of the best teams, a lot of the best offenses have a really good tight end. Obviously, we're not going to be Kansas City, but you see what they do with Travis Kelce. You see what Philadelphia does with Dallas Goedert. You've seen what the Cowboys did with Jason Witten for years. See what the 49ers do with George Kittle. So having a guy like Darren Waller is certainly going to help Daniel Jones out a lot too.
How do you judge a really good, they just out here?
Yeah, no, he's made right reads. He's had good leadership. He's communicating well. He's doing, he's good in the meetings. All the things that we ask him to do right now during this time of year, he's done a good job with.
And that's Daniel Jones in general. I never questioned Daniel Jones's work ethic. I think we always knew Daniel Jones was a hard worker. It was just, could he grasp throwing from the pocket? Could he be that confident guy? Could he make the right reads? And obviously he did a much better job. He was the lowest interception percentage in football last year. And people, the Daniel Jones contrarists or whatever you want to call them, the people that don't want to give him credit will say, oh, he only dinked and dunked. But I mean, that's where the offense was supposed to be last year, is to get his sea legs under him, to get him used to the system. And the guy was throwing to David Sills and Richie James most of the year. So what do you want from him?
Is there any difference for you coaching? I mean, I know you're coaching everybody here, but as far as Daniel goes, a lot of time last year was spent getting to know guys.
Sure.
Right? When you know your quarterback, I mean, you don't know him entirely, but I mean,
Yeah.
how much does that comfort level, from your perspective, help grow things moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's just like any relationship. You know, year one is you're getting to feel each other out. Year two, hopefully you can build on the things that what makes him tick, what makes me tick, what frustrates me, what frustrates him, plays he likes, plays he doesn't like. I mean, it's good communication. He's a very good communicator. We have open dialogue, not just me, but him and Kafka, him and Shea. He's done a nice job.
And I think that was a big part in Daniel Jones's growth last year. Not just Daniel Jones, but the New York Giants. The fact that the coaching staff did have open communication and they were perceptive to players saying, hey, I like this play, I don't like this play so much. And coaches definitely took their opinions into consideration with the plays that they called. And I think that's why you saw a much more confident quarterback in Daniel Jones last year, even though, like I said, he was throwing to guys like David Sills and Richie James.
Are there any young players that you've seen come in here and you can, I know this isn't competition here, but you
Sure.
can see that they improved, and if so, how?
Yeah, well, I just say, all the young players, and this is no different than it was last year. Each day you hope to see a little bit more growth from them, whether it's, where to line up, how to line up, the communication factor. Still a work in progress for, I'd say, a lot of the young guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a massive adjustment, a big time adjustment period from college football to the NFL, and they're just going to go to the basic things here, and then obviously they have to continue to grow each and every day in camp. That's what you want to see. You want to see them get more acclimated to the playbook, the defenses, the route running, and do the basic things, but you want to see them grow every day. And then obviously once you get into an actual NFL game, you're going to have to grow that much more, because you're not going to see all the complexities of defenses or offenses, if you're a defensive player, or vice versa, that you're going to see during a regular season NFL football game.
Dave, so what have you learned with a spring under your belt with Waller?
He's a good pro. He's smart. Again,
I think he said good pro, not good throw. Again, Goes captioning is pretty funny.
he's, much like Daniel, I said, he's done everything we've asked him to do. He's a good communicator. He's, played a lot of football, been productive. Again, we're still, utilizing him in different ways. We're seeing what he likes, what he feels comfortable with, what the quarterback feels comfortable with. But he's been a pleasure to be around, both in the classroom and out on the field.
Yeah, I think Darren Waller is a massive addition to the New York Giants, because that tight end is usually the quarterback safety blanket. And now we have a legitimate offensive threat with a guy like Darren Waller. Obviously, he dealt with some injury issues with the Raiders, which is why we were able to get him for a compensatory third-round pick. But I think Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones and Darren Waller are going to have a great season together. Darren Waller is a pro, and obviously he can definitely do some things offensively for us. And I look forward to it, man. The Giants always use that tight end in their championship days. And I hope that, we see a lot of that between those two this year.
Weapon-wise, though, how does he change the offense?
We'll see. We got a long way to go. Again, once we get the pads on and start doing all the things that we can do right now, it's more of a passing camp per se. But hopefully we can figure out a way to use them best.
And I think that, again, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try Waller out in different situations, see where he's comfortable, see what him and Daniel Jones, where they're comfortable together. And again, this training camp, this offseason, the preseason, I think that's what you're going to work on. Daniel Jones has to work on a lot of timing with Darren Waller, find out where they like the ball placement, Paris Campbell, Jalen Hyatt. He's got weapons to throw to now. And again, it's going to come down to him gaining a rapport with these guys. He pretty much had it with Isaiah Hodgins. I didn't snap good the first time immediately. And bringing Isaiah Hodgins back, I think, is also a big deal. He had a really good rapport with Darius Slayton his rookie season. Darius Slayton obviously dealt with some injury issues, as did Daniel Jones, that kind of threw him off a little bit. And I also think Joe Judge threw him off a little bit. But I'm excited to see what this offense brings this year. It's going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be Kansas City or Philadelphia. We're not going to be some high-flying offense. It's not going to be Air Coryell. We're throwing the ball 45 times a game. But I do think the passing game will be a lot more exciting this year than last year. I think it'll be a lot less basic this year than it was last year.
Given that it's more of a passing camp, do you feel like a player like Darren is someone who you can assess more accurately than maybe like a defensive tackle or offensive lineman this time of year?
Yeah, those guys do pretty much individual, so they don't get a lot of good on good work, and that's just based on rules and things like that. Obviously, we have no pads on. We're trying to do the right thing there, but again, it's his first year in our system. He's still learning things. He's smart. He's picking them up, but we got a long way to go.
What do you feel of the group that you're working with now that you're back for a second year?
Yeah, no, excited. It's a good day to be out here. These guys have worked really hard. They all understand what it is. It's passing camp per se, and we're just trying to get better day by day.
And that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to get better day by day. And that's really what this is for. This is for growth. You don't want to push these guys too hard. You want them to stay healthy. Obviously, that's always a massive key, is getting out of the preseason, the mini camps, the training camps, the exhibition games. You want to get out healthy. You want to be ready for week 1.
It was clearly a priority.
On the what? I'm sorry. Yeah,
Sorry, I couldn't pick that up.
we try to be pros in everything we do. So you come into work, you do your job, try to be really good at it. You learn from your mistakes. Start with me and try to improve each day.
Right. Well, I don't know what was asked them, but that's a great answer, because that's exactly what you want to do, is try to learn from your mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I know some people don't believe they do. I know some people always believe their opinion's right, but everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. The key is to learn from them and not make the same mistake twice.
In your career as a position coach, offensive coordinator, now head coach, was your antenna up at this time when you see players come back who have gotten paid?
Oh, I can see as your antenna up. I could just beep, 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 beep. That's all I can. I'm silly. It's been a long day at work. Don't mind me.
You know what I mean? They got paid. They got their contract. How are they going
Well, Daniel got his contract. I think that's what he's talking about. Obviously, Saquon didn't.
to be? How are they going to act? Are they going to be the same?
No, I mean, my goal is just to build a relationship with our guys. And each guy's
Another jet.
here for a reason. Come out there, do the job, and try to get better each day.
At any point, will you encourage Daniel, in a couple of days you guys break, to put it away for a while? Is that important for him?
Yeah, I've said this before. It's hard for him to do. So I think he's been in the league long enough. He has a routine that over the next, call it, month that he's used to, and I have a lot of trust that he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, that's what you want. You want your coach to believe in what he's doing in the offseason. And obviously, yeah, Daniel Jones's work ethic was never in question. I mean, obviously, the man puts in work in the film room. He puts in work in the weight room, and that's what you want. And now he's, like I said, the fact that he's the leader of this team, and I feel like he's extremely confident. And I think, knowing that your contract situation is behind you and you got a good contract, the Giants want you to stay here, I think that's going to build even more confidence. And Daniel Jones, I think you're going to start seeing him be a little bit more vocal with these guys. I mean, Eli, they compare Daniel Jones and Eli a lot. And Eli was never really a vocal guy per se, but they played hard for him. You know what I mean? And I think Daniel Jones shows a little bit more emotion than Eli did, but Daniel Jones isn't a guy. He's not going to be like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, where the guy's like right in your face if you screw up. But I think he will go over there and talk to the guys and, and try to pick them up or whatever. And that's what a leader does. And I do believe that Daniel Jones is going to take that next step as far as like really becoming the leader of this offense.
It was obviously a priority this offseason and adding speed and explosiveness, especially the wide receiver position. When you looked at that group this spring, what have you seen?
Yeah, a lot of new guys. We're still trying to figure things out. We've moved guys around. We shuffled them in and out. Obviously, there's some faster guys that we have out here, but we're still working through that.
Working through it, no doubt about it. I don't know what Darius Slayton's speed is now. He came out of Auburn at a 4.39, but you're adding Paris Campbell, who ran a 4.3. You're adding Jalen Hyatt, who, analysts that says every bit as fast as Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I mean, yeah, these guys got to get acclimated to Brian Daboll's system, not so much Slayton. They got to get acclimated to the system, but you got to be excited that we've actually added some outside speed and now have some deep threats, to extend the field. And that can work very well for a guy like Darren Waller, where you can really stretch the defense and then you have that underneath stuff with Darren Waller if you have some wide receivers that can stretch the defense. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Right, am still trying to figure things out?
Yeah.
Like where guys,
Yeah, no.
their position.
Yeah, we've moved them around a bunch, and this is what I think this time of year is for. It's like, I know we're not doing a bunch of teamwork, but Bobby shuffled, offensive linemen in and out to different spots, guard to center, center to guard, guard to tackle. This is a time to do it, to give them a little bit of a foundation because, come July 25th or somewhere around there, it's, we're going to get going here, and there's not a lot of time for, mistakes.
And obviously that's a good thing. We talked about, I know Chris and I talked about it with Patty last year that, we felt like when Joe Judge was the head coach, if plan A went awry, there was no plan B. Felt like there was a lot of injuries last year, a lot of things with the Giants, had to mix and match and put guys out of position and bring up guys from practice squads or get guys in the squad. And, they'd always felt like they were one step ahead, and they always had a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. And I think that's what Brian Daboll's talking about here is moving guys in and out, shuffling them around to see, if this guy goes down, can this guy step in and take this place? If this guy does this, if this guy does that. And that is what this time of year is for sure.
And I think this kind of piggybacks on what Jordan asked, but you have all these new players, Waller and some new wide receivers. Is there a balance between trying to stick with what you did well last year and try to implement some of what these newer guys do?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Somebody's got the reverberation on their mic.
Sure, so it's so different.
Or is that music?
Because you roughly have 30 to call it 40%
Up is another plane.
new players. So
I didn't know he did the press conference at LaGuardia.
your job as a coach is to go out there and experiment with some stuff. Obviously, you have a baseline of a system, but just because one play looked good one year really has nothing to do with the next year. So, like I said, we got a long way to go, working through some things, and the guys have been working really hard, and that's, getting ready to go for training camp.
Man, I'm telling you, man, this is I think this could be a fun year for the Giants. Last year was a lot of fun. I think this year could be just as much, hopefully a little bit more.
Couple more.
I guess, how do you explain the change in the way running backs are used by the league now compared to 5 years ago when you
He tell me you want to talk about Saquon Barkley without telling me you want to talk about Saquon Barkley. That says it all, Coach. Nah. And it is music in the background.
I think each year is different.
There you go. That's a great answer. Each year is different. It's a great answer.
Can a young guy impress you during a camp like this and just give you an idea of where he's heading and how he'll fit in?
Who's a young guy? Is he talking about Eric Gray? I'm guessing.
Right now, we're just trying to make sure they get lined up in the right spots, get our fundamentals and techniques down.
Oh, not fundamental. Please, Coach, don't use that word. It brings back. It gives me PTSD.
And then build on from what they did the day before.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Off season, have you ever done a double take when Andre Patterson's walked by you saying, "Where do you go?"
I got to get on his program. Yeah. Nice. Looks good.
Yeah, I got you, Coach. Listen, man, if you ever want to hit a workout, grab a beer, I'm your guy.
You have any guys working out? I know last year you guys had some veterans.
There'll be a couple guys. There'll be a couple guys out here. There'll be a couple other guys out here. And then the other thing, this last one. The other thing is Parcells is here today. You guys will see him walking around.
Yes, the GOAT, my favorite coach of all time, Bill Parcells. Well, anyway, that was Coach Daboll's press conference. I thought he handled that really well. Again, I don't understand all the questions about Saquon Barkley. It's a little ridiculous. And the guy asked not to talk about it, and the first few questions were about Saquon. I understand the frustration there. I understand the frustration on Saquon. Gut feeling he's back here in 2023 and beyond. It's my gut feeling. I really believe Saquon wants to be a Giant. And I really believe the Giants want Saquon to be a Giant. It's just a matter of fine print, guaranteed money, maybe years. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the hang up is with the contract. They got about a little more than a month to get it done before he actually has to sign the franchise tag. And hopefully they get it done. Anyway, this is my first reaction to a press conference. I plan on doing a lot of these, especially for the post-game press conference. I definitely plan on doing that the day after. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. And if you made it this far, it's 25 minutes. Really appreciate it. And, let me know what you thought about Brian Daboll's press conference and what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and all that good stuff. So until next time, it's Baddog. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I'm out. Peace.